Hey, what's going on, guys? Brant here with CPC Bodybuilding, the home of men's classic physique. Today, we've got a preview of the Orlando Pro in men's classic physique. Special guest today is IFBB Classic Physique Pro, Matt Norman. Matt, thanks for joining the show, man.
Oh, dude, I appreciate the invite. Thanks for having me.
Of course, dude. So we got the Orlando Pro, and Matt and I are going to go through the whole lineup, give you guys the show details, and also give you our picks for the top five. So we'll go ahead and jump into that. And before we get to the show lineup, want to make sure you guys can find Matt here on socials. So just in case you guys aren't familiar with Matt, he turned pro last year at Junior Nationals in Class C. As you guys can see here, pretty great shape, very classic looking. So make sure you guys give Matt a follow here on Instagram. It's Matt Norman, just his name right there. There is one extra N there on the end. But yeah, you guys can find him here on Instagram. Matt Norman uses codes. Check out coaching if you guys are looking for coaching as well. But that's where you can find him. And we'll jump into the Orlando Pro show details, guys. So we've got, so check-ins are going to be Friday, July 5th. And then Saturday, July 6th is the actual show. So what better way to celebrate Independence Day here in the United States than the USA Fit Games? So this is the Orlando edition. It's a big fitness expo that includes the bodybuilding show just as part of it. So we got men's prejudging. This is going to be NPC and IFBB Pro prejudging. I'm not sure which goes first. It doesn't specify here on the schedule, as you guys can see. But tentatively going to start at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, and then going to have men's finals at 5 Eastern time. So be on the lookout for that. I'll be giving you guys all the updates here on my Instagram, which is right here, CPC Bodybuilding. Pretty easy to find there. Not sure about the live stream, but if there is one, I'll be sure to put it on Instagram as well as the description of this video. So here is our lineup that Matt and I are going to go through, talk about each guy, and then give our picks. So starting out, we've got Osmar Alanis from Mexico, Bassam Ashuri, Theodore Atkins Jr., Toto Jong, who kind of floats back and forth between 212 and Classic, making his first Classic appearance of the year. Tyler Johnson from Canada, coming off of 2 consecutive wins. Jared Keys, Chris London, Gregory Monk, Andre Oliveira of Brazil, Carlos Pinto, Mike Riley, Zach Smith of Australia making his pro debut, and Jordan Strickland from America also making his pro debut. So pretty exciting lineup with some pro debuts in the mix. We'll start out here with our first guy, Osmar Alanis out of Mexico. So this is from last year. This was at the Breon Ansley show in Mexico, the Mexican Grand Battle Pro, one of those. They have a couple of them. But this was the classic physique show that he competed in. He did the men's physique one as well, but I think he's got good enough legs to be here in classic. So he was 7th at this show. He debuted at Texas Pro where he was first call out. And Matt, when we look at this individual posing routine, are there any poses or specific strengths that might stand out to you when we look at Osmar here?
It's a little choppy on my end, but what I can see is he's really classic, man. Like he's got really nice shape, and um, he looks very balanced. You know what I mean? It's not like he has anything that's overpowering or like any super lagging body parts. He looks good, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to agree with you there, man. The front shots are what stands out the most to me. I think his front double is really solid. His favorite classic pose, which is usually like the teacup pose, is really good too. I'd say probably my one critique is I think his back needs to come up, and he's probably been working on that this off season. But he looks fantastic. I think he has the ability to be in the first call out here. So that's Osmar Alanis. Next up is Bassam Ashuri. So he debuted just a couple of weeks ago at the Body B1 Pro, and he took last place at that show. Although I would have probably argued he could have been maybe 7th or 8th at that show. These are a couple of shots. So we got the front double, this ab and thigh right here, And, just looking at this front double, Matt, what are your thoughts on Bassam?
So mind you, we don't know like how good this lighting is, the pictures and whatnot. But from this picture, the first thing that comes to mind for me is his conditioning is a bit off. I think he's going to have to come in quite a bit harder here at Orlando if he wants to, make an impact, get a first call out.
Yeah. And that was actually the feedback from the judges that he received, was that the condition does need to come up a little bit in order for him to place higher. Now, with that said, this lighting was notoriously bad at the Body B1. I think a lot of people kind of called that out, especially those who attended the show said that these photos didn't do the guys very much justice. But I do know he's been cranking up the cardio. He's been working a lot harder. So this was from 7 days out after a leg pump. I mean, he's known for good condition. He's done a lot better in his amateur days with his condition than what we saw at that, pro debut. I think he'll come in better. It's just, this is a really tough lineup to go against. And I think after this, he probably plans to shut it down, if I understand correctly. So, I think he'll do better here, truthfully.
Yeah, and I'm looking at his Instagram too, just because, to your point, like that first thing I said, you never know with the lighting. You can have somebody in damn good shape with bad lighting, and he looks like shit. Sorry, can I curse?
Oh yeah, you're good, bro.
I don't want to get you demonetized.
Oh, dude, it's fine.
So yeah, again, like we can't tell the true condition because you never know with the stage pictures and whatnot. But look at his Instagram. No, he looks a lot tighter than he does in this picture, right? So I agree, right? If he pulls in a little bit tighter, again, it's a pretty tough show, and you could tell he's still got some room in the weight cap. I think the first call out's not out of the question. It's just going to be a battle, I think, to get up to that first call out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's Bassam Ashuri. Next guy up is Theodore Atkins Jr. So I'm going to switch our view so we can look at like multiple of these shots. So pull this up right here. So pull up his front double.
Who is this again? I'm sorry.
This is Theodore Atkins Jr. So I don't think that's a good one. We'll pull this one up. Here's a front double. Get a side chest in there too. I don't think he has an Instagram. At least I couldn't find it. And then we'll pull up the back double just to give him a fair comparison, even though he doesn't have an Instagram. So we've got 3 shots right here. So we've got the front double, the side chest, and the back double, respectively. And just looking at these, Matt, I'll be curious to see what your thoughts are. I think, well, one, the thing that sticks out to me is the back double condition could be a little bit better. Glutes look a little soggy there. And then just in general, probably more lats is my critique.
Yeah, I would agree. I like his look, right? He's got those like huge peaking biceps. He's got really good quads. If he brought up the lats from the front, he would have a pretty gnarly. Just all of his front shots would be pretty gnarly. But I agree, it could be a little bit tighter from the rear. But nonetheless, I think he's got great foundation. Where like if he just keeps chipping away, like he could be pretty damn great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely one of those guys who could move up in the Masters ranks. I'm not sure if there's a Masters division at this show, but I know he's competed in Masters divisions in the past, and I think that's probably his plan going forward because Chicago and Atlanta have Masters divisions. So this was from the Atlanta Masters Pro last year. So, he could definitely make some noise in that division as well. So that is totally Theodore Atkins Jr. Switching back to Instagram here so we can look at our other competitors. So we've got Toto Zhang, our next guy. So he's like the only guy that I can think of off the top of my head who goes back and forth between 212 and Classic, and it's like seamless, I think in some shows he's actually done a lot better in Classic than 212. I know he's kind of been right there in like, I would say like that 5 to 8 spot in some Classic shows. Like even last year, he was 13th at the South Florida Pro in 212 this year. So that was like the most recent showing. It was granted a really tough lineup, just because these 212 shows are all stacked. There's like no 212 shows compared to Classic, so you always get the best guys coming out. But this is from 4 days ago, so just roughly over a week out. What are some things that stand out to you about Toto?
Dude, he's got like a lot of muscle. He's very bubbly. He's got like huge limbs. You know, his arms and his legs are really big. That's the first thing that comes to mind with me. I like the look.
Yeah, the quads definitely a standout. I think he might have the best quads in this whole lineup.
Yeah, that's a nice front double, right? Like tight, really tight waist. Could use a little bit more lat width, right? But it's a really nice look for him from the front, man. Whenever you have that guy with like the big arms and legs and then a tight torso, like just a smaller torso, it looks sick, right? It looks very classic in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of density too. Muscle maturity's there. So
Yeah,
the guy who he can make some noise provided that his final look and his peak go well. So it's Toto Jong. Next up, I know you'll have a lot to say about him. So this is Tyler Johnson out of Canada. Tremendous performances he's put together thus far. Won the Body B1 Pro to start out the season, then the Indy Pro last week with a perfect score. Like, this guy is just putting it all together. He's going for a third win to cap off his U.S. tour before he makes his way to the Olympia later this year. Matt, what makes Tyler so special?
dude. I mean, look at him. I don't think he could be any better than that look, right? Like in terms of his peak, right? He's shredded. He's fucking full as a goddamn house. His tan is perfect. Like his glaze is perfect. Like dude is just fucking on, dude. So that's what stands out. But yeah, I mean, testament to him, man. Like I love the mindset of just coming in. A lot of guys would shut it down and just focus on Olympia. I love when guys do multiple shows and just start racking in the wins. It's just cool to see, you know. And I think it's good, man, because it asserts yourself as somebody who didn't win that fluke show, right? You're like, nah, man, like I'm fucking here, bro. Like I'm gonna make some noise. So I like that a lot. And last thing is like, if you look at previous years, like how much he's improved, like you could tell this dude is checking every fucking box, right? He's grown quite a bit.
Yeah, I gotta commend Tyler. Like he's a very diligent worker, and yeah, I think seeing him in person is totally different than seeing him on social media. I mean, I'll be honest. I thought he was really good heading into Indy. I was like, I could understand why he wins pro shows. He looks pretty good, got that like really dense, grainy muscle and good balance. He's really just well put together. He may not be blessed with like top tier structure, but he has good structure. But seeing him in person, man, like different level. I really think so. And there's a quality to the muscle that you don't necessarily get from photos and videos that you get in person. So that's just my take. I was really impressed when I saw him last week at Indy. So
I bet.
yeah. So that's Tyler Johnson. Next up, we got Jared Keys. So Jared is coming off, a couple of impressive performances. So Tri-City was a fifth place showing for him, and this is his most recent update. His feedback was to just push harder for the condition and just come in a little bit harder and sharper and, see where things take him. And he's done just that. I don't think this lighting really does him enough justice, truthfully. But, you've seen Jared compete in shows before. What are your take? What's your take on his strengths?
I think his strength is his width, man. Like if you've ever seen him, like just even walking around. Not that I've met him in person, but like I've seen a lot of his content. Like he's fucking wide. Um, well, I mean, he's pretty dense, man. Like look at that classic most muscular. I mean, that's a damn good shot, dude. So yeah, man. I think he's it's in my opinion. I think it'll be a pretty clear first call out for Jared. Um, yeah, I mean, dude, he's a good bodybuilder, man.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, man. I think he's got a lot to prove. He's trying to push for that O qualification. And he's up against some tougher guys here with like Tyler and, Andre coming off of Indy last week. But like, this is a good show for him to really get out there and stand next to some of those top tier pros. And I think the improvements that he's made, he looks a little flat here just because he's pushed conditions so hard. But I think when he fills back up, we're going to see him come to life. And with the extra condition and the fullness and the roundness that he already brings, I think it's going to be a really good look for him and probably the best we see from him yet. So, and I do know he's not done yet. This is just the first show of this stretch. So this is I'm ready, just warming up, practicing the peak show. So I think we'll see even more from Jared too.
Damn. That's pretty crazy because he competed in April, May, now July. That's a long season. And
Yeah.
I think he, if I'm not mistaken, he just had another baby as well.
He did, yeah. So I mean, that's another thing. It's a testament to Jared's work ethic. He is a grind first, talk later kind of guy, and definitely gotta commend him on just how much he is dug. He is dug this season to really get where he's at, and I think he'll be rewarded. It's gonna result in some good placings for him. So
yeah.
Jared
And
Keaton.
I'll just double down on the respect for having the kids and being able to do all this, right? As another parent with young kids, it's definitely a whole nother variable in prep. So much respect to you, Jared.
Next up, we got Chris London. So Chris's last appearance, as far as I'm aware, was back in 2022. So he competed at the Atlantic Coast that year. He got 11th place. I do believe he's placed higher than that in an Open Classic show. He competes kind of in like the Masters divisions as well as Open Classic. And I do believe he's got a top 10 in there. I can't remember which show specifically, but I mean, if you look at this is just to reflect a posing change that he made. On the right is the posing change. I really like that front lat spread.
Yeah, it's a really good front lat spread.
Yeah, and I think he's got some really crisp lines too, man. Like this is a transformation photo, but you can see here on the right just like how dug out he is. He gets really, really vascular too. Like the core is really impressive to me.
Yeah, he's got a lot of muscle, especially up top.
Yeah, I think he could do pretty well here too. I think his condition is gonna take him pretty far here because he's not like the biggest guy in the world, but he's got good structure, he's got good balance, and his condition's always on point. He's very sharp, and he presents his physique the way that he should. He knows the poses that work for him, and I just think Chris is gonna bring an all time best here from what I've seen in updates.
Yeah, that's a really good back double bicep.
Yeah, lots of detail too. You can tell he's been training for a while.
Yep.
So that is Chris London. Next up, we got Gregory Monk. This is kind of one of the more interesting guys in the lineup because he hasn't competed in like 5 years, as far as I'm aware. So this is from his pro debut at the AGP back in 2019. It's a long time ago. So it's really tough to say how much he's improved because he hasn't really been providing updates and whatnot. He told me he was intentionally waiting till the day of the show to keep us guessing. But this was a 6th place finish at that show. It had a few Olympians in it, actually. But if you can see the footage here, what are some poses that maybe stick out to you, Matt?
Let me see his front double here. Well, I saw at the end of the previous video his favorite classic. It looked like a really nice one. And he just overall seems like he's got good flow, smooth transitions across the board.
Yeah, I think he's got like just good width too. The wide clavicles, the wide lats, the small waist, it's the thing you can't teach in classic, but it's inherently classic, Good balance. The ultimate question for me is just looking at that back double, how's the condition in the lower body going to be? And then how much muscle has he put on since this? to really just see how he compares against some of these denser guys. Because like going against guys like Tyler, like Jared, like Toto Jong, even these are dense guys, and in that side chest, especially the back double bicep, you're gonna have to have density if you're going up against those guys because there's a lot of muscle there. So don't want to get outsized. So I'll be intrigued to see what Gregory can do. I do think he's really, really classic though. So he very well could be a first call out guy, depending on how much he's improved. Next up, we've got Andre Oliveira, who debuted last weekend at the Indy Pro. He took fourth place. He actually had some third place votes. We know he had at least one just based on the scorecard, potentially even more, just depending on what scores got dropped from the judges. But this was from his finals routine, and I was really impressed with this guy. Matt, I don't know if you had a chance to look at some of his photos or some of the footage from Indy. What did you think of him?
Oh, dude, he's insane. As soon as you started posting the first call out, because I think you were the first page to do it because you were there, immediately my eyes were drawn to him and Tyler. Him because I had no idea who he was, and I was like, "Holy shit, this guy's really good. Those quads are nuts." Like the same sentiment as to Tyler. Like I feel like him and his coach, if he has a coach, right? I'm seeing more and more guys self coaching these days. Um, like he nailed it, man. Like he's fucking really great shape. He's full as a house. Um, he nailed it, dude. He looked really good. So I mean, I got nothing but good things to say about him.
Yeah, incredibly balanced. This guy just like he is classic, and I think he's got a really bright future, man. Like these Brazilians just keep coming out of nowhere. There's just so many good Brazilian bodybuilders, and Andre is definitely no exception. Super nice guy too. And what I really appreciate about him is he takes the time to hit his poses intentionally, and he really cares about his presentation. You can tell he
Yeah.
spent a lot of time on this routine, and I mean, dude, the crowd by the end was going insane. Like the crowd loved the guy. So I think he's got a really bright future being a younger guy and just being a
How old
newer
is he?
pro. Yeah, so I think I could see him at the Olympia within the next year or two. Truthfully, I think he's that good. So,
I agree. How old is he?
ooh, don't quote me. I think he's early 20s. I think he's younger than 25 if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but
It's crazy.
he's definitely younger than me. I know that. So that's Andre Oliveira. Next up, we got so this is I actually have Bassam's page pulled up, but we got Carlos Pinto. Carlos doesn't post much on Instagram, but Carlos is over here on the far right. So Carlos is a Masters pro. He got eighth back at the Body B1 Pro, and this is a guy who I think this was his pro debut. He hadn't stepped on stage in like 7 years. Turned pro at Masters Nationals in bodybuilding. And he's got really good arms from this teacup shot. I like that shot for him. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, that was the first thing I saw is the damn bicep peaks, dude. Holy shit.
Yeah, the delts too, I think are really solid. The quads too. If you look at that right quad, he's not hitting down quite as hard on the left quad, but like that right quad's pretty impressive too. I think his back is probably one of his stronger poses too. His back double bicep. Here's the better one. Second from the right. I think that's a pretty good shot for him too.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so that's Carlos Pinto. Next up, we got Mike Riley. So Mike debuted at the Toronto Pro a little bit earlier this year. Mike's a former NFL player. He's a doctor of chiropractic. Just a very like talented guy, athletic guy, and brings a lot of charisma to the stage. He's super tall. Like any given show, he's going to be the tallest guy there. And he's still trying to fill his frame out, but I was really impressed. Like, look at this condition, dude.
Yeah, it's top tier.
Like, dude's peeled out of his freaking mind. And the shape is there too. You think he's got like pretty classic shape in general?
I think So he definitely has a little bit of a wider waist, but that comes with the territory when you're super tall, right? It's just your structure is generally larger. At least that's what we've been seeing lately. Kind of like a good example of somebody like Wesley. Um, that being said, I think he does have good shape. So like if he fills out that frame, it'll have like a Wesley effect, where like Wesley got so big that a bit of a wider waist is overshadowed, and your shape just looks so good because you're so big everywhere else. That being said, again, I don't think Mike has like a big waist. It's not like the super tiny classic waist. But yeah, no, I like his shape, but dude, like conditioning is top of the line for sure.
Yeah, it's all about proportions and ratios with classic, right? So, but yeah, I really like Mike's physique, and hope to see him only improve heading into the Orlando Pro. Next up, we got the two debuts that I'm really interested for. So this is Zach Smith, who was the Class D champ last year at North Americans. I think this guy's got a lot of potential, Matt. What do you
I
think
agree.
of these updates right here?
Yeah, I never heard of him before, so I checked him out when the list came out yesterday, and I was really impressed with him. I think he's got really good shape. He's balanced top to bottom. Looks like he came in shredded at North Americans, so obviously he could do that again and probably even improve on it. So yeah, I mean, I'm really impressed with the pictures I saw online. I think he's going to do well.
Yeah, I think so too, man. Just structurally very gifted. He's complete. He doesn't have any bad poses, and he controls what he can. He poses well. He brings the condition, and I would be pretty surprised if this guy's not top five, truthfully. So
I agree.
I think he's going to be really solid in his debut. Next up, we got Jordan Strickland. So Jordan was the 2023 Junior USA's champion. And I mean, you can see why. He's a really tall guy. So I think he was Class D. So the tallest class there is. And really good structure in those front shots. What do you think, man?
Yeah, no, he definitely does. It's impressive if he's a taller guy. Like his legs don't look small at all, right? His legs look strong. So yeah, man. I mean, great front relax, good shape overall. I think he definitely needs to fill out the frame more, but that comes with the territory being tall and being a newer pro, right?
Absolutely. And that's probably my one critique. And then also just it's always tough to know, just given lighting, giving given like different hydration and peaking protocols and whatnot. But I'll be intrigued to see if the condition comes up from this, because that was probably my one critique when I saw his look at Junior USA's when he turned pro. I thought the condition could have been better, but he very well could just dial it in. This could be, not the best lighting and whatnot. He could just be pretty flat too, from what I understand. So I think Jordan's one of those guys too. I could see him being right there battling for first call out. Just depends on what that final look truly looks like. So that is our entire classic physique lineup here for the Orlando Pro. Now for the best part of the video, Matt and I are going to make our picks for the top five. All right, Matt, I'll defer to you as a special guest. You want to go first, or would you like me to?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'll go
Hell yeah.
first. Okay, so I'm gonna say first is gonna be Tyler again. Second is going to be Andrew Oliveira. Third is going to be Jared Keys.
I'll find Jared. Where is he? Here we go.
There he is, Jared Keys. Fourth will be Zach Smith. And fifth will be Chris London.
Chris London. All right. All right. So Matt's top five: Tyler Johnson, Andre Oliveira, Jared Keys, Zach Smith, and Chris London. All right. So I'm gonna go from 5 to 1. Mix it up a little bit from what Matt did. So pretty similar top five. I'm gonna start out here in 5. I'm actually gonna go with Osmar Alanis out of Mexico. I like his structure a lot, and I know his condition's going to be on point. He brings a full round look. I have a feeling he brought his back up a little bit. I will say the place where I think he ends up losing is going to be the back double bicep, only because the 4 guys ahead of him just have like S tier back double biceps. Truthfully, that's the only pose where they're really going to get him. In 4th place, I'm going to go Jared in 4th. I think Jared could be as high as 3 here. Now, I think Jared brings great condition, fullness, roundness. I just think structurally he might get beat by the guys in front of him. Now, I do think his condition, like I said before, this doesn't do him justice. I do think he could, push a couple of these guys out of the way, just given that I know he's going to be peeled. He brings fullness, and he does have a level of like pop to his muscle that, probably with the exception of like Andre and Tyler, these other guys don't necessarily have. So I think Jared could be as high as 3 here. I've got him in 4 simply because I think Zach Smith is gonna. It's that shorter guy, taller guy comparison, and I say this as a shorter guy myself. I'm like 5'8". I'm not the tallest guy, but like your eyes are drawn to the tall guys, and Zach is very complete. He's very conditioned. Now, I do think Jared could beat him with the density a little bit. Truthfully, it'll be interesting to see how they stack up. The side chests is the pose that I'm looking to see how they compare in, because I think we'll see them next to each other. If Jared can win that side chest over Zach, I think Jared beats him. But as of right now, I think Zach is probably just a little bit better in terms of structure. So I'm going to take Zach. And then in second, I'm going to go Andre. This dude's phenomenal. Just everything you look for in classic. Great structure, great muscle insertions, posing's there, condition, roundness, fullness. I mean, it's all there. The only thing that I think Tyler really beats him at is he's just got way more muscle than Andre, and he's just like so much gnarlier. And Tyler also definitely has muscle maturity that Andre doesn't have. That's also something to stipulate, just because Tyler definitely has probably a few years on him in terms of training, and he brings a really impressive look. I got to take my hat off again. Tyler has battled, and I do believe he's coaching himself now. So that's a bit of a change. So I don't think he coached himself for the Body B1, but coached himself for the Indy Pro win, which was his best look thus far. So I have to commend him on just, navigating the peak himself and bringing this good of a look. It's pretty impressive. I just think he's going to be way too tough to beat in this show. Like my pretty clear winner from the get-go. He's just too much to handle in terms of muscularity. Structure's great too. So I got Tyler taking this one home. So those are our picks for the Orlando Pro this weekend. Again, I want to give a huge shout out to Matt for taking time out of his day to come preview this one with me. Make sure you guys go ahead and give him a follow here on Instagram. Use his codes. Inquire about coaching if you're looking for a knowledgeable coach with competitive experience himself. And before we get out of here, Matt, you got any shout outs you want to give to the people or the athletes?
Yeah, well, definitely first and foremost to the athletes, all you guys, great work. Finish strong, and really excited to see what you all look like, and excited to compete against all you guys next year. And just secondly, thanks to you, Brent. I appreciate you having me on here, man. It was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, man, truly a pleasure, and definitely looking forward to having you on in the future. So that's going to do it for the preview today, guys. I'm Brant. That's Matt signing out. Make sure you guys keep it classic. We'll see you later.